We live in a world of great mutations that impact our daily lives. Those mutations are worldwide, they're transformative, and they're here for the long run. Can you believe that in a few years, 20% of us will be above the age of 60? I will be one of them. And only now, it's only 10% of the world population. This makes for immense changes in the way we act as companies, of course, and citizens. The second megatrend is, what do you think this is, the second one? Somebody has an idea in the audience? Urbanization, absolutely. You know, in a few years, 75% of the world population will be living in urban areas. And we see the impact, as Liz just mentioned, that this can have in the way we live. And even more impactful, maybe, in 2030, we'll be 8.3 billion on this planet of us. Today, it's roughly 7.5. To do exactly the same thing, no more, no less, than we are doing today for those 8.3 billion, we'll need 50% more energy, 40% more water, and 30% more food and resources. How does this impact the way we act as citizens, as corporates, as managers? Of course, this has tremendous impacts. And of course, digital in the middle of all that is changing everything. It has changed, of course, the way we communicate, the time frame with which we communicate, but more impactfully, it now addresses our infrastructures. Our infrastructures, our roads, our buildings are now impacted and operated with the help of the digital toolbox. So what does it mean for a corporate, an industry as we are? Well, of course, you need to know who I am first. So I work for Bouygues. Bouygues is an industrial conglomerate, and this is a short video of who we are. This is not a promo video, just to make you understand what we do. So we build virtually any type of buildings around the world, civil works, buildings, office buildings, residential buildings, you name it. We also are a real estate operator, defining the cities of the future. So of course, all that has a lot of impact. We also work as an infrastructure company, building roads and railroads around the world. And we try, of course, to change the way we operate. But we are also a telco, as we will see in a few seconds, and a media company. So with all of that, the changes that we have just mentioned will be tremendously impactful on what we do, and of course we need to change the way we do it if we want to survive in this world. And we are convinced that if we don't reinvent ourselves, somebody else will. Of course, we have seen with Rob and Liz what can happen in the tech world. But what happens in a more down-to-earth, brick-and-mortar industry like ours? Well, let's look at this short video.
It would seem that in the rush to build a modern city, Panama forgot to take care of its existing streets, creating the contradiction of modern buildings and damaged streets. Modern buildings, damaged streets. And this is not amusing for the people that drive on these streets every day. The most influential news show of Panama decided to take the thoughts of these angry drivers directly to those responsible. Telemetro Reporta presents the tweeting pothole. Inside potholes on the busiest streets of Panama, we installed a device that every time it's run over by a vehicle, sends a complaint tweet directly to the Twitter account of the Department of Public Works. In addition, a special segment was created in the news show.
Desde hoy hay una novedad en el noticiero y precisamente vamos a presentarla. Se trata del hueco tuitero.
Remember when last time you drove on this street with a coffee like that and you were sick and tired of this pothole? What happens? What do you do now? You go to the town hall and you have to fill in some form and you know that it will never get anywhere. What did they do? Because they had the technology. Some smart person said, well, I'm just going to throw this little sensor here in this pothole, and, well, let's see what it gives. I just sent a tweet to the mayor every time it's run over by a car. Well, of course, it changed everything, you know. Everybody went crazy at the mayor's office, and then there started to be, for the media company, a local news show, you know, interviewing people. So what happened? Does it help? And so on and so forth, you know. Where is the infrastructure company in this picture? Where is the road construction company in this picture? It is nowhere. It is disintermediated. It has lost the contact with the most valuable person on earth for them, their client. We need to change that, because otherwise others will change it for us. So how do we do that when we're big corporates, when we're industrial companies used to processes and used to doing very efficiently the same thing and new things, but in the same way for so many years? Well, we need to do two things. And I've tried to look for the reference for this one, so I always say it comes from MIT, because, you know, it's always on the safe side. But if somebody has the real reference, you just tell me where this comes from. But it's very interesting. It's the definition of innovation. And basically, I won't go through this. It would be too long. But you have two ideas. Incremental progress. That's what we do. That's what big corporates do every day. We answer more than 1 million RFPs at Bouygues a year. So if we're not positioned well, we will very soon lose those RFPs, or more than we used to. So we need to improve incrementally, and we do that every day. But this is not the topic of the tweeting pothole. This is not the subject. The subject here is, how is somebody going to disrupt the thing? How is somebody going to come and do things entirely differently from what has been done ever since? And this is where you want to be if you want to change your company and position it on the long run in this new world that we are living in. So how do we do that? Well, the answer is the people, stupid. It's not the economy, not anymore. That was 30 years back. It's about people. Well, let's look at this short video.
When you grow up in a developing country like India, as I did, you instinctively learn to get more value from limited resources and find creative ways to reuse what you already have. Take Mansukh Prajapati, a potter in India. He has created a fridge made entirely of clay that consumes no electricity. It can keep fruits and vegetables fresh for many days. That's a cool invention, literally. In Africa, if you run off of your cell phone battery, don't panic. You will find some resourceful entrepreneurs who can recharge your cell phone using the bicycles. And since we are in South America, let's go to Lima in Peru, a region with high humidity and receives only 1 inch of rainfall each year. An engineering college in Lima designed a giant advertising billboard that absorbs air humidity and converts it into purified water, generating over 90 liters of water every day. The Peruvians are amazing. They can literally create water out of thin air. For the past 7 years, I have met and studied hundreds of entrepreneurs in India, China, Africa, and South America, and they keep amazing me. Many of them did not go to school. They don't invent stuff in big R&D labs. The street is the lab. Why they do that? Because they don't have the kind of basic resources we take for granted, like capital, energy. And basic services like healthcare, education are also scarce in those regions. When external resources are scarce, you have to go within yourself to tap the most abundant resource, human ingenuity, and use that ingenuity to find clever ways to solve problems with limited resources. In India, we call it jugaad.
Okay, I stop here, but I strongly recommend to look through this whole TED presentation. So that's the way we want to approach disruptive innovation at Bouygues. We want to move from a technology or solution push approach, whereas big corporates, I'm sure you're doing the same at BT and other places from people in the audience. You try to push your solutions to the market. The idea is to do exactly the reverse, to do usage pool. Try to understand what are the people's pains, what are their hopes, and then move backward towards a solution. And this works. I'm not the first one to have said that. Look at this person. You'll recognize him easily.
One of the things I've always found is that you've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology. You can't start with the technology and try to figure out where you're going to try to sell it. And I've made this mistake probably more than anybody else in this room.
So that's the idea that we're trying to move. And the good news is that there's a set of tools that are ready and available, business tools, not from academia. Of course, as much as we defer to academia and they help build those tools. But today, those are business tools. We can use the brand name design thinking for that. But this approach starts from the users all the way down to the final end user of your product or service. This set of tools is readily available and we have used it intensively at Bouygues, as I will explain. But that's also the same toolbox that startup companies have used to invent the new services that we've just seen, the tweeting pothole, Uber, Airbnb. It all started with pain points and hopes that were not fulfilled. So why don't we do the same? Of course, we still need to do incrementally better our solution. Of course, we need to do that. But also, we need to start thinking out of the box, and we have the toolbox to do that. And we, as corporates, have so many assets to leverage to do so. And I mentioned 3 of those. The first one may be more for us, the construction company, the industrial conglomerate that you've just seen. We can connect natively the infrastructures to the world. It's one thing to throw a sensor in a pothole, but it's another one to build the building or the infrastructure natively connected to the world. And I'm pretty convinced that this can bring new services that are more efficient than just throwing sensors on the ground. The second one is R&D. Startups don't do R&D. They don't have the means. They rely on corporates to do R&Ds with the help of academia. But we do the R&D, but we are bad usually at combining R&D results with the digital toolbox to provide services. We'll leave this for others to do. This is a fatal error, but it's not something we can't change. We can very well move forward and do that. There's no reason why not. And of course, our best asset is our human potential. How can 30 people in a garage, even in your dreams, be better at finding a solution than 130,000 people at Bouygues? It can't be. If you just give them the drive, the motivation, the ambition to do so. And if you let them do differently from a processed and organized way that they need, of course, to continue doing to be efficient, but maybe On the side, they can also contribute to the invention of new products and services. So the idea we have is we have to put human and usage at the heart of our future solutions. I think this resonates with the previous presentations. So that's what we do with the program that we have. Well, Innovate Like a Startup. It's an entrepreneurship program. I will come to it in a few minutes. But I want to give you two examples of what we have recently done in this area. Workplaces. When you talk about work of the future, you need to have workplaces of the future. And those workplaces have to be different from the workplaces that we currently have. For once, that you will do in your office so many different things in the course of the day that it's impossible to have a single area adapted for one single usage. You have to think multiple usage for a single area. And I present here Nextdoor. The name has just been changed today. It was announced, and now it's a partnership with the Accor Hotels, and it's going to be called Wojo, like Workplace Mojo. Another example, I'll leave you with this name. Another example is what we call the hybrid positive economy building. This is sorely in need of a good name, though. This concept is that positive energy building are starting to be a commonplace now. But what if we invented positive economy building, meaning that the building has to be connected with its environment? Of course, the people that flow in and out of the building, but also the neighborhood, the city at large, and other places around the world with which it's digitally connected. So we need to invent new ways of bringing value to a building, an office building in this case, apart from just being a place where people work. What if we bring some food trucks at lunch? What if we use this auditorium at night to have performing arts with the local communities? There's a variety of ideas that we can have, and we have put them all together in this concept, which once again is in search for a brand name, especially in English. But it was just awarded, and we're very proud of that, the Solar Impulse label. The Solar Impulse label, you know, this plane that flew across the planet, around the planet rather, solely relying on solar energy. Well, there's now a label that tries to label solutions that are both sound on an economic perspective and positive for the environment. And we are the only construction project that was currently labeled with this award. So, it's time to wrap up. We need to keep reinventing ourselves. And it's now. It's not for future generation, you heard that. It's for our generations. It's now. It will be too late otherwise, like on the left-hand side on this slide. But it's very hard. Look at this king here, you know, is fighting a battle. It's in maybe medieval times. He has archers. And here comes the guy providing him with the machine gun or the rocket launcher. And, of course, the king says, "Oh, do you think I have time for you? I have a battle to fight." So who's right here? Well, we would like to think that, of course, this king is stupid, you know. He has the solution to his problem and he doesn't even consider it. Well, the answer is that is not stupid because it can be used now. It's too late, you know. The archers can't read. They can't use a rocket launcher. So you have to prepare for changes. And what we do, and this will be my last slide, is to do that. We have an entrepreneurship program that we call Innovate Like a Startup that helped us. It's been 3 years now that we are running this program on a variety of forms, as you can see here. And believe me, employees from our company, they love this. And here you have even a LinkedIn quote, sorry, it's in French, saying that Bouygues is one of the most favored employers in France. And one of the reasons for that is because of this entrepreneurship program. So we can change the future together. We will change the future together. But we have to do it through human approach. Thank you for your attention.